oh no, we've already made those realizations. We already know we're lost in this commercialism nightmare. Now, like, how do we sing from within it?
Gil and Dave last night, it's always like heavy. Just Gil and Dave thing. It feels like something I'm telling our grandkids about.
I also feel like I'm probably guilty of this more than most people, but it's so easy to look at the kind of contained and completed work of the greats that came before us, whether it's the Beatles or Zappa or the main Neil or Herbie records, whatever it is, like stuff that feels like the heyday's over. It's so easy to be like, it's never going to be that good again. And I really feel like that's a weird story we tell ourselves that isn't accurate. I listen to new records and new artists, and it's the same with like movies or something, where I feel like everyone is building on the shoulders of what came before it. And as much as I love Blowing in the Wind and Times Are Changing, like I just don't feel like they would really stand up now. And that's not to dismiss it, it's just that the language has changed. And to hear where we are now, like getting lost in these catalogs of artists like Gil and Dave, or like Andrew Bird or Iron and Wine, like sometimes I'm like, their best stuff is as good as all the greats' best stuff, and we just don't have the distance yet to put it in that context. So I know it's an easy target, and it's a fun thing for people to talk about how music just ain't what it used to be. But and not only do I think that's not true, I even think it's better, which is kind of wild to say for me. I've never said that really before, but I'm starting to feel that way.
Yeah, it's certainly less culture moving, you know. I think that's part of what's so like you get caught up in the significance of, you know, a protest song that actually like turns into a protest.
Well, and I mean, I do think like we can only digest things that are a little more acknowledging the nuance of our reality, or acknowledging the complexity of our reality, and certain of those older songs don't do that as well. Things were a little bit more black and white, literally and figuratively. And I mean, I remember I was listening to someone talk about like Warren Zevon and how was talking about like the clergy of the mall, and these kind of like getting upset about our commercial tendencies, and it was very on time for late 80s, early 90s. And he's my favorite songwriter, so I'm not poo-pooing him, but it just felt really relevant to kind of want to cry about that then. And now it feels a little bit like, oh no, we've already made those realizations. We already know we're lost in this commercialism nightmare. Now, like, how do we sing from within it? And so it's like we can only do that because what Warren Zevon gave us. So I'm not dismissing it, but I just feel like with wherever you're at, like the language is wherever you're at culturally or in time, you can, not always, but you can speak the language of the time you're living in. And even artists like Gil and Dave, even though they're using a lot of old poetic language or old song language, it does feel timely. And I don't really have a good explanation for that, but it does feel like it's made now and by no one else.
I'm sure there is. I have to take a look at my playlist or something. I mean, contemporary, yeah, it's tough. I kind of feel like sometimes the vocational hazard of being a musician is like I'm not listening to that much music. Certainly when we're touring, and even at home, we stay busy, so it's hard to be like in it, you know. Madison Cunningham has a new record coming that's fantastic, and I have been lucky enough to get a copy of that before.
Yeah, I get a thrill out of not plugging into the culture, and rather than like creating our own, like rather than I used to feel like I needed to know who X, Y, and Z was, and now like I don't think I've ever heard of Sabrina Carpenter. If I did, I didn't know what it was. But instead, like there's friends at home in LA that have made records that aren't known about beyond our community, and that I'm obsessed with. And I used to feel like guilty or something about that, like I wasn't living up to some sort of cultural responsibility. And now I feel like making those decisions is kind of hopefully contributing to our singularity and our own sense of self. Like, let's just respond to what we respond to, whether that's something big and famous or new or old or something that no one's ever heard before. But Yeah, like you mentioned Madison.
Even the thing in the Ben Queller record.
Yeah, the new Ben Queller record's great. Our good buddy Mike Viola keeps putting out a lot of records that we love so much. The Paul Spring. It's stuff that, it's like fun to look at my year-end favorites, and it's like I'm friends with most of these people, and I'm sure there's a massive bias in that, but like, bring it on. I like that.
I feel like I actually saw clips talking about, like Pusha T talking about what he was listening to. I think he says Iron and Wine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, pretty really.
I think if you're letting yourself be led by the concept of like networking, like what's going to be good for my career, then you're lost already. But if it's in good faith, it's like I'm responding to this person's music. I want to know them. I feel like we would get each other. Like that's going to lead to something, whether that's professional or just personal. Being understood and understanding others is kind of like the whole ball game, I feel like. So there's plenty of artists that we know that aren't big and famous, but the more that we can collaborate with them, I feel like it fills our cup, but it also just makes us better. So I think like you kind of have to maintain that you're not, I don't want to go to this show tonight, but there's going to be some real important people there. Like, fuck that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can play the game in a way that's just not gross, as long as your intentions are pretty clear. And I think if you're trying to collaborate with people for the right reasons, not like, oh, that's an opportunity, let's take it, then good things are bound to come from it. I think entering into relationship with someone like a collaborative relationship with someone like that with expectations is bad. I think it's never going to look like what you want it to look like. I think just be open-minded and don't expect something to turn out a certain way. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with, hey, I like your music, let's work together. Obviously, like, we both stand to gain from that, and that's not a bad thing as long as we are doing this because we love the art that's being made. Obviously, like, we all need to like make money in order to just continue to service the art that we make. And so I think it's just a matter of having an honest conversation with yourself about how to do that. I think a lot of people get caught up in like, I don't want to open for this band or that band because I'm not totally in line with the music they're playing. And this is for obviously this is in regards to younger emerging artists, as we were for a long time. We went on every opening tour, and I'm sure we had a bit of that too for a minute. And the fact is, like, if we only played with bands that I listened to, we would never have played with any bands, because my taste is pretty like perennial. And yeah, I think it's just try to be unimpeachable. Like, if your thing is your thing, if you're discerning enough to have a sound and you've created your art and you feel strongly about it and you're going to perform it and kick ass every night, then it doesn't really matter who's coming up before or after you. I think really it's like, are they good people? No, it's not. This is, do you stand to gain? There's two things. One tends to follow from the other if everything seems to be kind of in its right place.
Yeah, when we were kids, I would hear about the cool artists that we worshipped. Like, oh man, they turned down this big tour with, XYZ band because they just don't like it. And when I was 18, I'm like, that's really cool. Or I'd like hear that they sleep in their car still. Like, that's cool. And then getting older, I'm like, if that's how you feel, sure. But it's also like, what are we doing here? Like there's a point where, feeling honest with yourself can turn it just straight up into being pretentious. And I think that's something in our case, like, we wanted to avoid. I think trying to keep up with the cool kids, I don't think it's possible.
And I think in a way it's a blessing that we're not really that, never have been. I can't imagine like the pressure in a band like Big Thief or something, because they are the cool kids and they make really amazing music and I love their music, but you gotta it's like there's another aspect to service, and I mean that they're so cool, they'll probably just seamlessly do that. But yeah, we don't really have to like cater to our persona as such, it's just like what follows from who we are. And I think that, again, it's like, and some people are better at this and it serves them, but that's just not a game that we play. And I think it's made our lives a little bit easier.
I think it's funny, like when we were kids and our bodies were just indestructible. It was easy, especially like as a singer. I didn't think twice about having 3 or 4 beers before we went on stage, and then like drinking after, and then sleeping 3 hours, and then doing it again the next day. Sometimes sleeping on a floor. Like it just wasn't a thought, and I could handle it. And now, and a lot of bands were like that. And then as time goes on, the ones that stay committed to a certain lifestyle just fall away. And for us, it was like all of a sudden one year we found ourselves talking about like, where's the juice place, and where's the whole supplement section of the Whole Foods, like, and it's not as romantic, but it became very much about like, how do we take care of ourselves in order to just keep doing this. And then it became like, I can't drink on tour at all, because of just like I have to keep my voice in certain shape, and like, yeah, it also, I don't do much, like, we'll get home from tour and people will be like, oh, you were in DC or wherever it is, like, what'd you go do? And like, I didn't do anything. I had to like save up that energy so that when I hit the stage at 9 p.m. or whatever, I was restless and bored and ready to get something out there. But if I'd been a tourist all day, I don't know if I would have really had that same energy. So it's a lot of preservation and like trying to stay as quiet and still as possible until the moment comes to be creative and energetic. That's how it feels for me. But you know, we'll exercise and do that sort of thing. But yeah, I wish we had some sort of nomadic romantic answer to it but it's like, I go on walks after the show and then abandoned neighborhood after everyone's gone to bed. But nothing like that happens anymore. And you hear stories of like, I heard stories of like Bruce Springsteen, like when he's getting on stage at 8 or whatever, and he's done at 11:30 or 12 or whatever, that's his like 3 p.m. because he woke up at 4 or something, and then he stays up until 8 a.m. or something because, and I've noticed that myself, like sometimes like we're getting off stage, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go to bed, and that's not the part of the day that I want to be doing the most important thing. I want to be on stage at the height of my reserves. So that's something that we try to monitor too. Like if the tour is really long, then I don't think twice about actively trying to sleep until noon or 1. I haven't done that in a while, but there was a time where let's stay up all night, and then sleep all day, so that by the time we're on stage, that is like our 2 p.m. I was talking to another friend about this, and I won't say his name, but another like substantial artist, and he was talking about the rat race of it all and relevance and the ticket sales and all that same stuff. And he was just like, I can't think about it anymore, man. I just want to be happy. And just saying that last part, I was like, wow, that's such and giving himself permission like that and putting it in those terms was eye-opening for me, because I think it's very easy for me to go into that space of like, I guess it's like a survival brain of like, how do we get more? How do we feel safer? That's not where we're writing music from or recording records from. If it was, the songs and the recording sound much different than they do. But then when we go out there, there's a part of me that's like, you're trying to get a lay of the land that I don't even think is ever really evident. The reality is we can celebrate what we have, and I try to do better at that and try to let go of this. I guess I don't entirely. I mean, it's like two brains at once. It's like I want to go play MSG, and I also am so grateful for everything we've ever had if it ended right now. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but I feel like that's how it has to be for me to be able to get through the day. I have to maintain some kind of ambition. I have to believe that we can forge a path beyond where we're at, but I also have to understand how incredible it's been, and the fact that we've got to make 9 records, the fact that we started this band in 2007, it's all pretty wild. So like it's hard to carry both realities at once. Yeah, well, we did the Dead 60th thing in San Francisco with Graham Lesh. It was called Heart of Town, and it was next door to where, like, the stadium where John Mayer and Dead and Co were going to do their thing. It was at this Pier 48, I think that was the name of the venue, and there was like 4,000 people or something like that. It was full of people, and I brought my 4-year-old son Gus, and normally he doesn't stay up for stuff like that, but we thought, like, let's let him stay up for a show, and he watched side stage, and he was on a friend's shoulders, and I was like connecting with him, and I was so happy that he was there. And afterwards he ran up to me smiling, and he gave me the biggest hug, and he's like, "Dad, I never want you to play a concert again." And I was like, well, that's not what I expected him to say, but I think he just was he just sweetly was like, "I like hanging out with you, and I don't like it when you're up there and not over here." It really put into perspective like what the kids really care about, and like me kind of projecting like he's proud of his dad right now, look at him, and he's more just like, when are we hanging again? But it was funny and sweet.
Yeah, my boy's young, so he's not talking. This isn't really funny. He was born 2 weeks after I lost my house in the fires in LA. So the whole thing was amazing and wild in its timing. So yeah, it's been a revelatory, of course, as any parent knows, and he couldn't have come at a better time, honestly, in regards to the loss we had just endured. So he's like it's amazing. He's got such an energy about him, just like he's like literally our savior. It's amazing. He's really done a lot for us. It's like he knew, like, oh man, this is so heavy, and then for him to come early and just lighten everything up a bit, it's really special.
Yeah, when you're like spinning out and future tripping, and your anxieties making you like reckon with like hypothetical futures, there's no better antidote than having a little kid be like, "But we're doing a puzzle right now," and then all of a sudden like, "Oh, this is all that matters," and I need to be present for this person that I care so much about. And so it's just this constant re-snapping into the present moment, being around any kids. My book.
Yeah, books. Like sardines.
Yeah. It was the Tin Fish Band.
Yeah.
If there's any Tin Fish companies watching,
collapsible kettle. Like I want to control the hotel room environment because we're in so many different ones, and so I like to roll in, have my food if I need it, and have my coffee rig. I got like a nice hand grinder.
Get you an AeroPress.
Exactly. So that, and some like workout bands, so I kind of just get it done in wherever I need to quickly. That's one thing that Fatherhood has done to me. I've consolidated like a lot of things and just tried to condense it into whatever 30 minutes and whatever time I have. Studio
albums, but I feel like I really get to know a band when I get into the live albums, like how they put a set list together and where they stretch and the way their banter is. And I like some bands, most bands I only am familiar with the studio records, but once I do drift into the live stuff, I just feel like a whole new layer of what they are about kind of opens up to me.
No. Absolutely not. Cereal is its own genre completely. It's not even breakfast food. Yeah, it's like its own thing. No. Kinda.
Depends. I do the drinkable yogurts. Those are liquid.
Yeah, but they never.
I gotta get the spoon out. It's not.
When you put the drinkable yogurt in the granola, it just doesn't really hit the same way as real yogurt and granola.
Peanut butter is not a liquid, but it's so important.
Boy, I can move my tongue faster than like any human.
He's been told.
I'm just not.
Is there a way to find us out?
I'll show you.
Yes, please.
I mean, I can't certify myself as like the fastest tongue, but
you have to put limit on this next clip.
I haven't seen anyone that move faster. So there you go. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, you heard it here first. I mean, you asked. I wasn't gonna offer that up.
You don't ask questions you don't want the answers to,
Yeah.
That's all I have. That's pretty much it.
Hey, stunning people. If you're loving our music, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe. And comment below who you want to see next.